and act out and act the fool like that, because I feel like, oh, we're from Chicago. Ain't you supposed to knock their heads in and lock them up and put them up? How it seems as though people have taken your desire to meet their demands and beat you over the head with it.
You know, I tell you, man, as a black man growing up, raising a family in the city of Chicago, I understand what the black community has to deal with every day. And you know, most notably when it comes to how they're policed. So when I became superintendent, it was just kind of fortuitous one day that my wife and I were having breakfast, and I ran into a couple of the black activists that actually had been the bane of our existence in CPD, you know, because they were angry about the Laquan McDonald issue, you know, and some other things. And it just so happened I had been named interim superintendent at the time. And I saw them in a restaurant, and we began a conversation. And I invited them up to my office to have more dialogue. Because listen, at the end of the day, I honestly believe that the community should have some voice in how they're policed. You know, and being a black man growing up in Chicago, I know how that relationship has been fractured at times. You know, so a lot of times what folks don't understand is people want you to listen to their concerns, you know, and give them a voice. And that's what I did, because I just believe that if you don't have dialogue, you know, it's not about pointing fingers and placing blame. It's about listening to each other so we can figure this thing out and make it better for everyone. So I just was of the opinion, and I've always been like that through my entire career, where I would talk to community people because they have the pulse of what's going on in their particular world, you know, and I think that I have a responsibility to listen to them.
Superintendent, you said pointing the fingers. You talked about pointing the fingers. How ironic. The mayor pointed the finger at the black family as it related to dealing with the violence. Seemed like it was sort of victim shaming. When we come back, I want to talk about that. The mayor pointed the finger to black families, and then there was some backlash about you, I guess, agreeing with the mayor. So we're going to come back. We're going to touch on that, and I want you to explain it. Then we want to go into, I want to just know what it's like to be the black chief of police in a time like this, because I got to imagine it's got to be some challenges. Look, it's Talk Chicago 1690, and we are talking to Chicago Superintendent of Police, Chief Eddie Johnson, in the studio. Don't miss it. We'll be back after traffic and the weather. All right, sir. So Nat, what's up?
Can I still do Facebook Live?
Yeah, you can do Facebook Live. Okay. So I'm going to ask some questions that probably will not make it on air, okay, but maybe some of the stuff that we're getting from people from Facebook. Let me ask a question. Why would a black person become a police officer seeing that? And can you do me a favor? Can you scoot over just a little bit, right? And then just pull the mic to you, right? When you talk. You don't need it right now. Just when you come back to talk, just pull it to you. That way you don't look like a one-eyed guy. All right. So if I'm black, why would I want to be a police officer today?
Because, listen, here's the thing that the black community has to understand. The quickest way to change things is to become part of that change. You know, we can't sit around talking about how we want things to change unless we're willing to be part of that and facilitate that change. You know, you look at the Chicago Police Department, there's roughly 13,000 of us, right? The city's demographics is a third in terms of white, black, and Hispanic, right? The police department isn't even close to that. So out of 13,000, we have a little bit over 2,000 black police officers. So if we're serious about changing things and we want to do it quickly, then you bring more black police officers on. So, you know, to talk about change and not be willing to be part of it, to me is a little disingenuous. You know, you have to be willing to put some skin in the game too.
Okay. So Salim Muwakil says, are there any barriers to working on racism among the white cops? And what have you done to work on that?
So in terms of racism, what we're doing now, and I don't know why this didn't happen before I became superintendent, but I'm really pleased that we're going in that direction now. You know, before we would always take new police recruits out to Skokie to visit the Holocaust Museum to see what racism is, where we have racism in the black community too. So now we take new police recruits to the DuSable Museum so they can see the black experience in Chicago.